Hello everybody, good morning. It's April 19th, 2023. It's about 8:12 in the morning here. Today is Wednesday. Just a couple things to point out today. We've got VIX expiration. We've got some options expirations going on over the next couple days as well. So admittedly, there is likely going to be some volatility going on in the market here. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to take a look at the crypto atmosphere, completely unrelated, but correlated to two stocks. And so before I get into all of this, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. And as always, this is just my opinion. This is just my research on the market. All right, let's go ahead and move on into everything that we're going to be taking a look at today. So first off, what we can see here, we have chart up on the screen. We've got the ES futures. We have the S&P 500 index, because again, unrelated markets, but correlated markets. We have the total crypto market cap. We have the total crypto market cap that excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum. We also have Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, and I've just decided to choose AVAX versus the Tether trading pair. And I also have chosen to pull in Litecoin versus the USD trading pair, so the fiat currency trading pair. And as you can also see on here, I've got the WaveMaster indicator and I've got our momentum indicator on all of the charts as well. And I'm going to dig into each one of these and just to take a look at, again, we're looking for what are the signs that we could be in danger of the alt season, quote unquote, being canceled. I think what a lot of us are looking for is we're looking for alts to continue to make another rise to new highs for the year. And so let's just take a look and see what it would take to invalidate that. All right, so first things first, I'm going to go here to my ES futures because I think there's, something in here that is that's quite interesting. We take a look at things like this quite often, and I put an idea out on TradingView just yesterday talking about this formation here. And so again, just to kind of point this out, we've got a nice what appears to be three waves up into a one, right? So ABC into a one, three waves down into a two. And then this looks like a five-wave structure. I have to admit that, but I'm going to count this as a three-wave structure up, and then three-wave structure down, and then a three-wave structure up. So, and I did that backwards. So let me fix that real quick here. Start here at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we've got a five-wave structure that has shown signs of a breakdown. Okay, so that is something to pay attention to. There also is the fact that this might actually extend out further, and this may actually be doing something like this, where we have a channel, right? So we could have a channel here. And if I change this just a little bit, just talking about geometry here, I'm going to get my fib channel, put my fib channel on this, pull this down right here. We're at the bottom of the channel, or at least we're pretty darn close to the bottom of this channel. So if we're going to move up, it's going to be from right here. Okay, if we are going to move up to another high here at 4,200 to 4,210 by tomorrow, I mean, it's going to happen from here. It's going to happen from this general area. What does the WaveMaster say? Well, the WaveMaster says from a momentum standpoint that, sellers are probably losing their momentum at this point. And we're looking for the potential that we are going to see a momentum move to the upside. From an indicator perspective, I mean, things really don't look all that good. So from a WaveMaster perspective, it does not support a buy here. What it has supported, the last two signals have been, we had a sell signal right here, which again is spiked up but came down. We had a sell signal right here, which was really at the top. It was right here to about 41.95, and we've gone down, about 40 points since then. So we do have some signs that we could be seeing even a temporary bottom here for the day. So we're going to continue to monitor that and keep an eye on that. From an SPX standpoint, with futures going down and dropping from where they are, chances are pretty good. We're going to open somewhere here between 41.30 and 41.40. So we are going to get a little bit of a gap down. Now, what typically happens when you have a gap? The market always likes to fill gaps. It doesn't always happen immediately. Sometimes it takes days. Sometimes it takes years to fill gaps, but the market does tend to fill most gaps that have been created in an overnight session. So this cash index is going to be opening. We're going to get a gap more than likely, unless sometime over the next hour and 12 minutes, the ES futures decides to take a rip to the upside and eventually opens around 41.75. Again, I don't believe that that's going to be the case over the next, 72, 73 minutes or so. So I would expect we're going to get a gap down today. And what happens after that is going to basically going to be determining what happens over the next 2 weeks. If we have a continuation, like basically a gap and go, and it doesn't fill, that's really going to show us what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. So again, markets are correlated, even though that they're unrelated to each other. Let's talk about the total crypto market cap. I'm going to go to a daily time frame here, and I just want to point out here for a moment that we've got resistance right here where we're at. So at this crypto market cap area right here, I'm going to pull it down to about right there. This area is going to be, an area of significant resistance, and we would expect it to be. We would expect this to be significant resistance. We don't have signs of significant bearish divergence, at least nothing that is really worth hanging our hat on, nothing that's really, really worrisome, at least for me, for the time being. Certainly, you can see right here, we've got a nice little trend line that is proving to also be, resistance from a diagonal perspective. We've got a rising trend line, which is creating that resistance. So as long as we stay under here, then, we would expect there to be maybe some continued pushes to tap that. But I would expect this to maintain that level of resistance, at least on the way up, right? I could throw a channel on this. I'm not going to really do that. I don't want to dive too much into this. But from a horizontal standpoint, this lower area of this box that I've created, it's been significant areas of both support and resistance. So let's go ahead and just take a real quick look here and see what, let's see here, TradingView changed the way that they put their indicators. So, here we go. This is what I'm looking for. I had to get my little eyeball here. So again, we had support here, and we had support here. Then what we had here was some resistance. And then we've had areas of resistance, but now we're looking like we want to do a retest of support. And so this is okay. These are the kinds of things that happen frequently in the markets. So for us to maybe continue moving sideways and down to retest this, maybe sometime next week would make a whole lot of sense. And then potentially by mid-May, we see this total market cap go up here to about $1.33 trillion. Right now, we're at about $1.89 trillion. So, sorry, $1.189 trillion. That's currently where we're at. And in a move down here to about 1.16, it would make a whole lot of sense because we had lots of resistance right here. And I'll go down to a 4-hour just to show this just a little bit more. You can see we had lots of resistance where we did try and test this and rejected, test and rejection. We pushed up, we did a little bit of a pullback, but now I believe we're probably going to see more steep pullback here, and it's still healthy, right? This is still an okay move. I don't believe that this is anything that we should be overly concerned about because fact of the matter is this still looks okay. So that's for the total, excuse me, the total crypto market cap. But what about altcoins? Okay, let's take a look at altcoins. And I want to talk about what I want to see and what a lot of other people want to see as well. So we can all agree that we had a good ascension here. We had a good move to the upside. We had a steep pullback. All right, so let's go ahead and measure this. This is actually something that I haven't done before. So let's just go ahead and take that up. And let's throw my EWT on here. We had a pullback to the 618. All right, a 618 pullback. So when you get a pullback here to the golden zone, and you could take a look, we've got the 618 there. I can throw the 65 on here as well. Let's just go ahead and do that. So 65, and we'll throw our little orange line on there. You can see we tested that pretty well. That was a good test of the golden zone. And I'm not sure why this adjusted. Do that there and right there. So if I take this to a daily time frame, we get that retest. I'm not sure why when I move down to a 4-hour, this doesn't line up the way that it does here. But at any rate, let's go ahead and just kind of put that on there, up to the top and to the bottom. You can see we did get into this area pretty well at about $324 billion market cap. So what we would expect to see is we would expect with a high degree of probability that we're going to get up here at least to the $437 billion mark. And, I was saying just a couple days ago, we really need to stay above 400 billion, and we're down here now at 386, 387. I'm looking for a move up to, at least 437, but more than likely what I'm looking for is a move up to about 450. And if I take my trend-based fib extension tool, dominant pivot low, dominant pivot high, we get our pullback right here at this 100. That's at about 454. Once we start approaching this is when I'm going to be really cashing out of altcoins, and I'm going to be waiting for a much larger correction. Is it going to start now? Has it already started? At least for the time being, I would say that this is a shakeout. We've got the largest number of long liquidations that we've had in, over a year. So that's also something to pay really, really close attention to, is the fact that we are cleansing the longs that are over leveraged. And that is, that's a big thing that has to happen before, continuation move to the upside. You have to take out the over leveraged traders, because, fact of the matter is the exchanges and the market movers, they don't want over leveraged traders to make a lot of money. They want to liquidate them so that they can roll those liquidations into their positions before we start to see another move to the upside. So you've got people that are going to start getting scared. But for the time being, I think that the market cap for the total crypto atmosphere and the market cap for crypto minus Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think it still looks okay. There's really not a lot to be worried about, at least for the time being. So what about Bitcoin dominance? What's Bitcoin dominance doing? Well, again, we've been watching this for quite some time, right? So we've been talking about this zone that we've been in. And, we've seen a little bit of a bump here on Bitcoin dominance over the last day, about 0.5%. After yesterday, went up almost 1%. So over the last couple of days, we've seen the Bitcoin dominance, it's increased about 1.2 to 1.3%. It's to be expected, because you can't expect that the market is going to continue to move in the direction that you want it to move. You must expect that there's going to be ebbs and flows, and you should not over leverage yourself. This is something that I try and push on everybody in our Discord, that what you shouldn't be doing is you shouldn't be over leveraging yourself. If you're taking leverage trades over even 5 or 10x leverage, you're overexposing yourself, because fact of the matter is most crypto traders don't position themselves appropriately. and they have that all-in mentality, and then they get liquidated, and then they're left with nothing. And that's not the way to survive in the market. You can't liquidate yourself and just think, okay, well, I can just deposit more next week. You've got what you are willing to put on the table for your risk, and you should manage that appropriately. You shouldn't get yourself liquidated. You shouldn't get yourself close to the point of liquidation when Bitcoin's only moved a couple percent. That shouldn't cause you to, completely lose your account. That's not the right way to trade this market. But for Bitcoin dominance, again, I'm going to go ahead and throw this on here, and I've got an idea that I have out on TradingView discussing this. If we take a look at the Bitcoin dominance right here, we're still doing a little bit of a retest here, right? Again, we've got a high, right? We've got a high right here. We had a little a test right here, right? And of course, we've got areas right here in between, but right here, we have another test of that upper, after we had, some test here on the inside, and now it looks like we're doing that yet again. We're testing the inside of this zone. Now, if we get back up into this zone, and especially if we take out the highs from back here on April 11th, April 12th, then what that would tell me is that Bitcoin is probably going to continue moving to the upside, which I don't really expect it to go too much more compared to where it is right now. I really don't expect Bitcoin to completely rip up to like 40, 50, 60,000 right now. But if it takes out that 49% at this point, right? If it takes out 49, 50%, then it's probably going to take off, and altcoins are likely going to maybe not suffer. You may not see them suffering, but they are going to be suffering because, again, what a lot of crypto traders don't do is they don't look at the Bitcoin trading pair of their alts. So, again, I really do expect that Bitcoin dominance is probably going to come back down here to about 45%, right? And that may only be like a 2.5% drop from where we're at right now, from where we're at here, down to about 45%. I guess I take it back. That's more than I expect. That's a 5.81% drop, but it's a loss of about 2.5% dominance. But dominance dropping this, 2.5 points, that would mean that altcoins are likely going to see a decent move to the upside. And I really do expect that this, if it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen over the next 2 to 3 weeks. You hear a lot of people say, sell in May and walk away. You have all these different little sayings that happen, and there's truth to a lot of them. Got a lot of people that have said things like April is the most bullish month in crypto. I mean, I tend to somewhat agree with that, but it's not always the case. It is not always the case. There are cases where April is not the most bullish month in crypto. But generally speaking, the majority of the time it is. And right now we are in the middle of April, and crypto is not looking all that bad. Altcoins have done pretty well. So let's keep on moving. What is Tether dominance doing? All right, well, for Tether dominance, right, and again, we've looked at this for quite some time. And again, very similarly, I put an idea out on TradingView discussing what I'm about to show you right now. We have a trend line here, right? So we've got a test here, some front runs here. We could pull this up a little bit if we wanted to, and to show that there's a little bit more support and a failed breakdown. However you want to look at this, I'm going to pull it down to right here because what we also have is a run. So from this low right here, we've got this touch right here, and we've got all of these different touches here, right? So we've got a touch here, 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 kind of here. We have almost a breakdown, finally did break down, right? And again, I could pull this down a little bit if I wanted to make it look a little bit better. But at the end of the day, what we're finding right now is we're finding a decent amount of support right here at that 6.5% dominance on Tether. And we've seen a 4.38% increase, right? It's really only about a 0.29% dominance increase, but dominance has increased 4.39% from where it was just at the end of the day yesterday. And as long as we stay, again, kind of inside of this range, right? So we're going to say between 6.5 and 7.3%. As long as we stay in that range, I would say that the breakdown structure is still valid. I really do believe that that is the case. And chances are pretty good. Let's go ahead and measure this. We have this low. We have this high right here coming down here, potentially at the end of July. Again, this means that there is time on this, time on the table here. If we do see a move down here, I mean, maybe it happens quicker. I'm not going to say that we're going to have a major breakdown by that May timeframe that we were talking about. But if we get an alt season, chances are pretty good tether dominance is going to fall. So the bigger question here is, over the next 2 to 3 weeks, are altcoins going to surprise everybody and take a massive move to the upside? Or is Bitcoin dominance going to take over? And is Bitcoin going to take that massive move to the upside? We have to watch all of these things to make informed decisions on where we think that market is going to go. The other less likely alternative is tether dominance takes out 7.3% and just continues to drive to new highs, in which case the entire crypto market is going to collapse. I don't really expect that to happen, at least for the time being. Stay inside of this range, and I think we're okay. I really do. I think we're okay. Now, let's take a look at AVAX, all right? What I would really like to see, and what I would expect to see out of AVAX here, is dominant pivot low, dominant pivot high. We get this pullback right here. I would really expect AVAX to hit this level, and that's at about $30, right? How long is it going to take? Again, I'm not interested in how long it takes. I'm not in a leverage position in AVAX. I'm only sitting in spot. And really, you can make a lot of money on spot positions on altcoins. You don't have to be leveraged all the time. I know a lot of people are addicted to it, and that's okay. But if AVAX gets through that 2138 resistance, right, we can see right here, we've got some support, resistance, and we had a little bit of support here, resistance, and some front run of resistance, lots of resistance again. When this thing breaks through, it's going to break through, and it's going to break through in a big way, and it's probably going to move up to that target pretty quickly, right? So again, are we taking a look at this potentially going into the middle of May? We're just going to have to wait and see. But on the daily, the yellow wave, the red wave, the white wave, they're all pointing up. And yes, the green wave is pointing down, but on no divergence. There is no divergence here, right? So let that green wave maybe reset just a little bit. And again, are we going to see a continued move to the downside? Probably not. Probably not, at least not in a large way at this point in time. Are we going to come all the way back down here to about 1650? I mean, that's very possible that we do come down this far. But if we break this, then that is a break of structure. I would say that would be very, very bad. But as long as we stay above this, I would say that things are actually pretty healthy. And I think it's very likely that we do see that continued move to the upside. Let's throw a channel on this. Okay, throw in a channel from those pivots, getting up here to that high right there. And let me get rid of my background because I did have a background on there from another analysis that I was doing. Let's thin out those lines a little bit. And if we are going to see that move, and maybe we see it go a little bit higher, I really don't think we're going to go much higher than $30, right? So maybe we throw the median on here, we'll throw the midline, and we'll thin that out as well. And just talk about where or how long it would take. I don't think it's going to go all the way to July. I don't think it's going to take that long for it to happen. So maybe this channel is not as, not as important as I thought it might be. But nonetheless, if we do come back down here and we take that move to the upside, watch to see what happens. Again, this could go into the beginning or the middle of May, depending on how that all works out. I tend to believe that the drop that we saw and that we have seen this morning is maybe the beginning of a little bit of a correction. I don't think it's anything to be too overly concerned about. And then I do think we're going to see a continued move to the upside. And at least for AVAX, I am looking for a move up here to about $30, in which case I'll get rid of all the AVAX that I have and kind of move on from there. All right, last but not least, let's take a look at our good friend Litecoin. The reason why I like to watch Litecoin is because Litecoin has historically been a great indicator, a leading indicator for an alt season. And Litecoin has held up pretty well. If Litecoin can get through this level here at about $103, that would be a good indication that altcoins are likely going to see a decent rise. For Litecoin, I would expect right here is probably going to be the high for the year, though. Right? So while I do expect that Litecoin is probably going to see a decent move to the upside, I would say that's probably going to be the top for the year, and then we're going to see a long and extended correction, right? So this is probably going to go likely all the way into the end of the end of 2023. Are we going to take out these lows? That's up for debate. I don't know that that's going to happen just quite yet. That may come much later. But for right now, let's harness what we have. Let's trust our indicators. Let's trust the analysis. And we just kind of go from there, right? Keep an eye on that dominance. As long as it stays below 49-50%, altcoins I think are good. The total market cap, as long as we stay here above 1.15%, $1.15 trillion market cap, I think that's fine. For the total 3 market cap, so that's the total crypto market cap minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think we look like we've got a nice retest, and as long as we stay close to 400 billion, and especially if we get back above 400 billion, then I think that that's also going to be okay. The indicators that we have for the things that matter the most are looking okay. AVAX, right? AVAX versus Tether, red wave, yellow wave, white wave, bullish. Litecoin, everything except for the green wave is bullish right now. The total market cap, the white wave, very bullish. The yellow wave and the red wave are in the bullish control zone. Those look okay, except for the green wave. The green wave is the only one on the daily that looks a little sketchy at the moment. So we'll continue watching that. And again, we're going to continue watching the ES futures and the SPX cash index as well, because the markets are not related to each other, but they are correlated to each other. And that is important that you keep your eyes on the global financial system and not just hyper focused on one area, because it is important to watch things. It's important to watch gold. It's important to watch silver, because silver has been just going nuts, which leads me to believe that money is flowing into these, we'll call them physical assets, gold, silver, platinum, right? And more, you're going to see money going into Bitcoin as that digital gold, because you've got a lot of younger people that are not looking at gold as an investment vehicle because the rate of return is not great. Gold is a great store of value, but it's not a great way to quickly increase the money that you have. There are lots of ways to increase the money that you have invested. There's bonds, there's real estate, there's crypto, there's gold, there's silver, there's stocks. There's lots of different ways to grow, but more and more young people are getting into the investment space, and more you're going to see them flocking to things like Bitcoin and altcoins because it's a digital asset, it's decentralized, and there is admittedly very little government control on it. There is government control on crypto, and it's getting more and more, but there's less regulation on it, which is honestly it's something that younger investors want to be involved in. And so you're going to see money start to flow back into it, even though the fiat inflows into crypto are not that high right now. That is going to change. It's going to take time for that to change. But the younger crowd is not buying gold. When was the last time you heard a 20-year-old saying, hey, I went to XYZ website and I bought myself some physical gold. It's being delivered to my house tomorrow? When was the last time you heard anybody say anything like that? You don't hear about that at all. You don't hear young people talk about these physical assets. You really only hear them talking about crypto. Sometimes you'll hear them talking about options. You'll hear them talking about stocks, Robinhood, XYZ, broker. But you're not seeing them flock into those quote unquote safe haven assets that the boomers are investing their money into. There's nothing wrong with gold and silver. I'm just saying that as time goes by, you're going to see more and more money flow into crypto as a safe haven versus physical assets as a safe haven. So keep that in mind as you go through life. And that's really all that I've got right now. We've been going for about a half an hour here. We've talked about a lot of different things. If you have any questions on anything, you know the deal. You know how to find me. You know how to get a hold of me. Get a hold of me on Discord. If you need access to our Discord, you can find all that information on bitdoctor.org. If you need access to education, trade ideas, different strategies, we do a lot of options trading here recently. The market's been a little choppy, but we're doing what we can to pull whatever profits we can pull out of the markets. But again, you can find all that information on bitdoctor.org and how to get access to that, including the indicators that I was just showing on the video today. And last but not least, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, and a good evening. Take care, everybody.